Today we're going to add in to WebMap layers our aligned assets single point web service, and I'm going to show you how easy this is to do. The benefits of adding in our aligned assets single point web service are the fact that we can update our local land and property gazetteer, and because it's connecting to a web service directly and it's updated straight away, the addresses that we're entering will come straight into our WebMap layers application, so you won't need to duplicate and workload by updating one and then updating another. So the WebMap layers application itself comes with a very nice web-based admin interface that allows us to control the kind of settings that we're going to look at. So we can create multiple different maps, we can change the functionality that's available to our end users, and then one of the things that we're going to look at is how many searches we can add, and we can add a brand new search in as well. So the first thing we're going to want to do from our admin interface is we're going to want to say that we want to select the appropriate map. So I'm going to add this into my local authority map that we've got in front of us. And what we can then do is we can say that we want to add a brand new database connection. So this database connection is going to come from a web service. And what we need to do is we need to enter all the appropriate details that come from the Aligned Assets web service into this dialog box. So the first one can be a name. So I'm just going to say this is Aligned Assets. So what we've got in front of us is we've got a URL. So in here, or in the document on the other screen, I've just got a copy of my URL, which is that. And I'm sure that you'll be able to get this from Aligned Assets directly so that you can add all your appropriate information in. We've got a user ID that I can put in there. And then finally, we've got a password as well that I can copy into there. So once I've got all that information, I can click add, and it tells me that it's been added successfully, which is great. What we can then do is we can set up our search that we want to do. So I'm going to go into searches, and I'm going to say I want to add a brand new search. So what we can do again is fill all this information in. So the first one is what our name will look like when we're using the quick search for the address. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call this, is this an address? And then aligned as a single point web service, so that we know that it's coming from that source of information. What we can then do is we can add a connector type. So we've got now in there our aligned assets connector type that directly to the data. Then we can set up a database connector, which is the connection that we've just set up. So that's going to add in there as well. And then if that's all correct, when we press get tables, we should have a table name appear, or a couple of table names appear, depending on how much information you've got available. And in this example, we've got our connection to our address-based data. So that's come through nicely. What we can then do is select the appropriate columns. So obviously for our Easting, we're going to select our Easting column. For our Northern, we're going to select our Northern column. For our results column, I'm going to select our full address, so we get to see the full address when it comes back. What we can then do is we can set the zoom resolutions. So you can obviously set this with whatever you want, but I'm going to set this at 0.5 so it goes to our master map data, so we can see where that point is in relation to master map. I'm going to set an icon of our blue marker, and then obviously our projection is going to be the OSGB 27700 format. And then finally what we can do is we can add in a search column. So I'm going to edit, and then what I found is the best column to use for a search is a field called search_address, and I can click OK. So once we've filled all this information in, I can click add, and it tells me that it's adding this to the local authority map, and it tells us it's been successful, which is great. And then what I can do is I can say I want to go directly to that map. So now it's loading. As we've clicked to load up this map, it's now going off and searching or creating the searches that allow us to use the quick search. So one of the first things that you see is we get the cookie policy come up. So I'm going to say no thank you. I'm going to quickly switch my map to our Ordnance Survey base. And then what I can do is I'm going to type in a postcode that relates to the data we've got available in front of us. And what you'll see is that it's come back saying, is this an address? Aligned Assets single point web service, which is the one we've just created. And then what we can do is click on the appropriate place on the map, and the map will locate accordingly based on the information that we've put on. And it's really powerful because it brings back the information really quick, and then when we click show more, we can get the remaining attributes back as well. So you've just seen how easy it is to add in the aligned assets single point web service straight into our WebMap layers application.